I'm back with another video. The most perfectly assembled 7 square miles in the United States, possibly the planet, are located in the heart of the Sierra Nevada mountain range in California's Yosemite National Park. This video is about the time that I spent there. Saw a lot, learned a lot. Here we go. Yosemite National Park is one of those places that will make you stop and just stare. So, my wife and I found a cabin in the woods and planned to spend a few days doing just that. This trip marks my 4th visit to Yosemite National Park. I have been here in 3 of the 4 seasons. My favorite season is the spring. Why? Waterfalls. I know there's a song that says don't go chasing waterfalls, but I can't help it. I'm in love with these things. And several of the nation's tallest waterfalls are located in Yosemite National Park. Before you decide that you want to go chase waterfalls in Yosemite, a couple things you need to know. Yosemite National Park is on the reservation system. So when you roll up to the park gate, Ranger Bob is going to ask you for your reservation. And if you do not have one, he's going to tell you to turn around, go find a cell phone signal, and make a reservation. And just know that that reservation may not be for the day that you are there. So, word to the wise, plan ahead. You might ask why you need a reservation to enter Yosemite. Answer is very simple. Yosemite National Park lies within a 5-hour drive of 27 million people, just under 4 million of which visit every year. It is the 6th most visited national park in the U.S. National Park system. I'm going to say this again, plan ahead. 95% of Yosemite National Park visitors spend all of their time in the 7 square miles of Yosemite Valley. Keep in mind that Yosemite is about the size of Rhode Island. There are places that are not as congested as the valley. Now, don't get me wrong, when you see Yosemite Valley, it is obvious why people come here. It is stunningly beautiful. There is a process that formed Yosemite Valley. It's called glaciation. From what geologists are able to tell us, the exposed granite that we see in Yosemite National Park dates back somewhere between 85 and 105 million years. Ice, 4,000 feet thick, carved what we know as Yosemite Valley in what geologists believe took place somewhere between 5 and 10 million years. Some 4,000 years ago, long before John Muir, before Ansel Adams, before America's conservation president, Theodore Roosevelt, were the native tribes of the Miwok and the Awanichi who occupy what we know now as Yosemite National Park. Unfortunately, many of our national parks and public lands have a dark history. Yosemite is no different. In the mid-1800s, there was this thing called the California Gold Rush, where thousands of miners flocked into the Sierra Nevada mountains in search of gold. Yosemite was not exempt from that. Now we have the native people of Yosemite, or a valley what was known at that time as Awani, and money and the government on the other side. When you have money and government on one side, indigenous people on the other, doesn't really work out well for the indigenous people. Look, don't get mad at me. History is history. Can't change it. Not long after the California Gold Rush, there were some people who noticed, oh, this place is absolutely beautiful, and we need to stop destroying all this granite and cutting down these trees and preserve this place. So in 1864, Yosemite National Park, although not the first national park, was the first protected land in the United States of America. In October of 1890, it was named the 3rd national park in the United States. Something I did not know was that the first park rangers in Yosemite National Park were buffalo soldiers. My great-grandfather was a buffalo soldier. Although I have no record that he served in Yosemite, I just happen to have on this hat in honor of him. So Mose, if you're up there, your great-grandson is giving you a shout out. Thank you for your service. As I said earlier, I have visited Yosemite National Park in 3 different seasons: winter, spring, and summer. Most people visit the park between June and September. If you choose to avoid crowds in Yosemite, come in January. Just know this, Yosemite National Park lies in the heart of the Sierra Nevada mountains. It snows in feet in this mountain range. The winters and snow in this part of the country should be taken seriously. Many of you may not have read about this, but in the 1840s, there were about 90 people who left Illinois and tried to cross the Sierra Nevadas during the winter, got caught in the snow, and most of them ended up eating their family members and friends. And although transportation has improved vastly since then, when you roll up to the park gate, Ranger Bob is going to ask you to show him chains for your tires, because they are required when you visit Yosemite during the winter months, which can run from October to mid-May. So there again, plan ahead. There are several superlatives to Yosemite National Park. Several of them are waterfalls. Several of the tallest waterfalls in the country are in Yosemite National Park. Yosemite Falls falls 2,425 feet. You can hike to the base of the lower falls. However, just let me say this, if you do that, take a raincoat. It doesn't matter if it's a sunny day, you're going to get wet. Yosemite National Park has a shuttle system. They are free. They make several stops. They provide a map of all the stops throughout the valley. They run on a regular schedule, somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes apart. And it is the most efficient way, especially in the busy months, to travel throughout Yosemite Valley. One of the most recognizable features in Yosemite National Park is the granite monolith El Capitan. Its summit is 7,500 feet above sea level. It rises 3,000 feet above the Yosemite Valley floor. A lot of people climb El Capitan by scaling its granite face. 31 of those people have fallen to their deaths. So if this is not something that you are highly proficient at, stay on the ground. As you look at El Capitan, you're also going to see Ribbon Falls. It falls 1,612 feet. It flows year-round, although from what I understand, in the fall months, it flows to a trickle. If you look 180 degrees from Ribbon Falls, you're going to see Bridal Veil Falls. It falls 620 feet. And here's the tip. Go to Bridal Veil Falls in the afternoon, right around 3-ish or so. The mist, it creates a rainbow. Yosemite Valley is divided by the Merced River. The water that feeds the waterfalls and the Merced River is runoff from snowfall. So no, this would not be the time to go take a swim. 1, the water is raging, and 2, the water is really, really cold. Another featured waterfall in Yosemite, although not the tallest waterfall in the park, it is still quite impressive, is Vernal Falls. This waterfall has a 318-foot drop. It is a 3-mile round-trip hike, and that hike is on what is called the Mist Trail. Called Mist Trail for a reason. Yes, if you go in the spring, there's a really good chance that you're going to get wet. But know that this hike is absolutely worth it. There is so much more to Yosemite than Yosemite Valley. I decided to go see some of it. So I decided to drive to the Mariposa Grove of giant trees. On my way, I decided to stop at Glacier Point. If you want to get away from the large crowds of Yosemite, or at least some of the large crowds in Yosemite, go to the high country. There are not nearly as many people there, and the views are just as stunning. On my way to Glacier Point, I saw this. There are some people who say that there are no bears left in the state of California. Don't believe that. I did not get out of my car because seeing a bear and meeting a bear are very different, and when you get out of your car, you're going to meet one, and that's not a good thing. Although they may appear as grizzlies, these are black bears. As I said in another video, black bears in the western United States tend to be brown and or cinnamon. There are an estimated 150 to 500 black bear that live in the Yosemite ecosystem. The Mariposa Grove of giant sequoias is a grove of more than 500 giant sequoia trees near the town of Wawona at the southernmost end of Yosemite National Park. It was in 1864 that Abraham Lincoln decided that we are not going to cut any more trees down, and that this was one of the areas that was going to be protected. Some of the trees here date back more than 3,000 years. It is a 30-mile drive from Yosemite Valley to the Mariposa Grove. It is time well spent. I strongly suggest you go see the Mariposa Grove of giant sequoias. The monoliths and waterfalls of Yosemite Valley, along with the Mariposa Grove of giant sequoias, are just some of the reasons why the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, better known by its acronym UNESCO, named Yosemite National Park a World Heritage Site in 1984. There are few places like this in the world. No trip to Yosemite National Park is complete without a stop at Tunnel View. Tunnel View is at the end of a long tunnel from the south end of the park that gives you a bird's eye view of Yosemite Valley. No matter how many people there are, no matter what time of day you go, do not miss this. This view is worth the trip in itself. You see El Capitan to the left. You'll see Half Dome in the distance. You'll see Bridalveil Falls as it falls in the valley. It's something about Half Dome. Half Dome, which you see in the frame, is a perfect example of what glaciation does. It's called Half Dome because the glaciation, or the movement of the ice, has sheared half the face off of Half Dome. So there was at one time that this was a complete dome, and the glacier cut the face off of the rock. And for the last million years, it is now what we call Half Dome. Thank you for watching. Please take a moment to click that like and subscribe button. I spent 4 days in Yosemite National Park on this trip. That wasn't enough. So what that means is I'm going to plan on coming back here again. But until then, I will leave you with these. Thank you for watching. I'll be posting another video soon. Please tune in.